Hello everyone, JSGC here, and we are here for another Manchester City transfer update. Just like always, remember, if you're interested in the content, make sure you press the red button, help support my channel by subscribing and pressing the bell and putting your push notifications on. Make sure if you're interested, you can go and check out my social media links, my Twitter and Instagram, which you can find in description below and popping up on screen. If you want to go and follow me on there, I'll keep you up to date with everything happening with JSGC and Manchester City transfer news. And don't forget, leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and also leave your thoughts in the comments below. So we're going to move on to the ins, and we've got some big stories developing here in terms of an incoming and potential of Kylian Mbappe, and then in the outs we've got an update on Leroy Sane for you to stay tuned for. So we're going to start off first by talking about one of yesterday's stories, which is Thiago Almada. Now, I've had contradicting reports, which frustrates me like no end. Honestly, it does, because I hate it, because I feel like I'm reporting false news, and it's not. It's what the sources are saying, then other sources are saying this, and it's very difficult to find out what's fact and what isn't. But contradicting reports are saying that Thiago Almada, that he's going to turn down a new deal at Velez Sarsfield, and yet so his release clause doesn't go up to put off interest from Manchester City. That was coming from sources in Argentina, yet the MEM were reporting yesterday that actually he's going to sign a new deal, and his release clause is going to go up to £16 million, which is why City are willing to pay £16 million. His previous release clause was £12.5 million. Now, I was under the impression that it was €16 million his release clause, and this new contract was going to up it to €25 million. So I'm getting different figures, I'm getting different information, one thing from the UK, one thing from Argentina, and it's extremely frustrating because, to be honest, I don't know which it is. What I do know is it's going to be a £16 million deal, but has he signed this new deal or not? I really do not know, but it's frustrating. But anyway, like I said, £16 million is what we're dealing with. MEM were reporting that they do expect Manchester City to sign Almada. It's more a matter of time, so we're not looking at if, it's more a matter of when, which is good. And more than likely he'll be loaned out, as I said yesterday, to Sporting Lisbon. Manchester City last week had meetings with Sporting Lisbon, which was to discuss Thiago Almada and also to discuss the incoming with Felix Correa, who were expected to sign for Manchester City once the European Under-19 Championships have come to a conclusion, and is returned back ready to resume his pre-season or start of the season by the time he gets back, obviously. Anyway, we're going to move on to a new player. Speaking of South American, Thiago Almada, we're going to move away from Argentina and move to Brazil this time instead. And apparently, a player that we've already been linked with previously, called Reinier Jesus, I think, or Reinier Jesus Carvalho, I think his full name is. He's just known as Reinier. 17 years old, Flamengo attacking midfielder. Apparently, a lot of clubs are chasing the Brazil under-17 player, according to which Everton's one of them, Liverpool, Manchester City, Borussia Dortmund, AC Milan, Real Madrid, just to name some of the clubs that are being linked with him. Flamengo apparently will not let him leave, though, until his 18th birthday, which falls on January 19th, 2020, so don't let him go until the winter window. City signed Jesus, if you remember, announced the signing, then brought him over in the winter window. Could the same happen here? Perhaps. But there are some problems, apparently, over work permits. We do know this already over Douglas Luiz, that if there isn't a guarantee that he's going to be a first-team regular, and he hasn't had an international cap. Gabriel Jesus had already played for Brazil at the Olympics when we'd signed him, so that kind of counted. It helped towards getting a work permit for him, whereas with Douglas Luiz, we struggled. Aston Villa are confident of getting a work permit with a promise of regular playing time and being a first-team regular, whereas City, are they going to be able to promise Reinier, a 17-year-old, or who will be 18 by the time if we do bring him in? Will be guaranteed playing time? I do not know. It's one of those that if we did sign him, I'd probably expect him to go out to Sporting Lisbon. Apparently it's easier for them to get a work permit coming into Europe when they head to Portugal. And also not too much of a cultural difference, Brazil and Portugal. It's not going to struggle with the language anyway, both speaking Portuguese. So if we signed him, I probably would expect him to head out on loan to Sporting Lisbon too. However, with so much interest in him, City do have a battle on their hands. So it's one of those, the ones for the future, that we will keep our eyes out for. Now, we're going to speak about Kylian Mbappe. There's been a quick link with Manchester City that's been happening over the last week or so, and things have been developing a little bit more. I've got a little bit more meat to get into the story so I can discuss it in the transfer update. So I'm going to address this rumour. First thing I'm going to say is, no, I don't think we're going to be signing Kylian Mbappe. evidently. And I'm going to give you my reasons. There's plenty of reasons. First reason being PSG and Manchester City don't really get along, or at least the owners don't anyway. The countries that they come from, UAE for Manchester City, Qatar coming in from PSG's owners, the two countries who are both, I think, are royal families of the countries. The countries don't get along. They don't like each other, so they're not going to go into negotiations with transfers over each other, or I'd be surprised if they did. And the only way they do this, I'd think, would be involving a lot of money and the best interests of whoever's wanted to go into negotiations. Considering City might be chasing Mbappe, then it would be within the best interest of PSG to sell Mbappe, and obviously you'd have to pay an astronomical fee because it'd suit PSG then to get the most money. To me, I don't see it. But this whole situation stemmed from Neymar being unhappy. Apparently Neymar wants to leave PSG. He's wanted over in Barcelona. Kylian Mbappe sees this as a great opportunity now to become the main man at Paris Saint-Germain and become their star player, their most paid player, their shirt seller, basically, the big player that's playing for PSG. And that's where this rumours apparently flickered from, because apparently Mbappe's demanding, and PSG apparently were willing to negotiate a wage of around £860,000 per week, which is absolutely incredible, which I'm not sure if it'd make him the highest paid football player in the world. It was certainly close if it isn't, but that's an astronomical figure that City just won't go near, and that's why I feel like City's name's in and around him. And there's reason number two, is Mbappe doesn't want to leave PSG. He's just using Manchester City's name, Man United's name. I'm sure will be out there, Barcelona, Real Madrid, and that. The agent and his representatives will just put the names out there, up the price for Kylian Mbappe to demand more money on his contract. Ronaldo's done it plenty of times. How many times has he used Manchester United to be able to get more money from another club, saying, oh, they're interested. And of course, when class players like Mbappe, like Ronaldo come available, all the big clubs are going to be interested. Puts the ball into their court, and they play it to their advantage by asking for more money, and you end up with astronomical wages like £860,000 per week, which goes against everything City represent with their wage structure, which is the big reason. Number three comes down to money. City aren't going to upset the apple cart with that amount of wage, and if he's demanding that much Mbappe, then this deal is over before it's even started. He's on 3 times as much as what I think City's highest paid player will be, or near enough 3 times anyway. Absolutely ridiculous, and I feel like the ship sailed really with City trying to sign Mbappe. If we were going to sign Mbappe, I feel like we should have done it whilst he was at AS Monaco and competed with PSG before they signed him, because now that he's at PSG, if he does leave, I only see Mbappe going to Barcelona or Real Madrid. But potentially Man United paying the money, but to me, a lot of these players and big transfers tends to be Barcelona or Real Madrid, and I can see him heading there at some point in the future, in my opinion. So it comes very difficult. The only way this could be viable financially is if City wanted to use the situation happening with Leroy Sane, because I have heard PSG are a little bit interested in Leroy Sane, so they could try and figure out some kind of swap deal involving cash, but the fee for Mbappe would be big. I mean, we must be looking at around £200+ million, and considering we're valuing Sane at 100 million, you're probably looking at a deal at like triple digit million figures, so like 100 million plus Leroy Sane, that might be at least 2. So it's all just fairy dust and make-believe, because that's just not viable. It'd become an incredible player. Really would suit him down to the ground. Premier League, the quick pace, the physicality, being able to get in and around, the high lines, the second balls and everything. It'd be a dream, he really would. But there's just too many factors here that means it can't be possible. But City are getting linked, but I feel like we're getting linked because Mbappe wants a bigger wage, and unfortunately that's all there is to it, really. Unless there's more on it, then I'll bring you more on it. I mean, that'd be an incredible signing, wouldn't it? Anyway, let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Last but not least, in the ins, we're going to talk about a player we spoke about a little bit earlier in the window. Now, it comes in the form of Nabil Fekir. Now, he was this player that City were linked with, as when City were looking at attackers. So I'm talking players like Bruno Fernandes, Everton Suarez that we were linked with too. Apparently, I know at the moment club sources at Manchester City are saying no attackers, at least not in this window. Might look in the winter, or might be looking in next summer. I do not know, but as in terms of this summer window, not looking at an attacker as of right now. But Nabil Fekir was one of the players that City had possibly looked at, because you could get him on a cut price deal. But turns out he's already left Lyon, and he's ended up flying into Seville to go and sign for Real Betis for just £22 million. I found this incredible, because Liverpool were linked with a £50 million deal last year, failed a medical, very close to joining Liverpool. Liverpool were linked in the winter window. There was an abundance of interest in Fekir in the winter window, and then he was linked again with Liverpool and Manchester City in the summer, and ends up going to La Liga to play for Real Betis. So, for £22 million rather than £50 million that was agreed last year with Liverpool. So, a bit of crazy 12 months that, but in terms of that, it's a no-go. So, we'll have to see the progress that Fekir does in La Liga. Obviously, he's trying to prove himself in La Liga, makes a success for himself. I'm sure Fekir will be able to earn his way up and go to another club, or he might be happy and stay in Betis. I do not know, but that's one player that Manchester City will definitely not be signing. And we're going on to the outs dead quickly, speak about a couple of players. First up comes in the form of Tosin Adarabioyo. Got an update on him. Reported a few days ago, the Lancashire Telegraph was saying that Blackburn were chasing him. Sky Sports were reporting now that he's now close to signing for Blackburn on a season-long loan. When that gets made official, I will announce it to you first and fast. Got an update on Nicolas Otamendi. Sources in Spain are saying that Valencia simply cannot afford the wage demands of Nicolas Otamendi, and therefore have completely ended their interest in Nicolas Otamendi. Atletico Madrid aren't interested either. As far as I'm aware, they're the only two clubs that have declared an interest in Otamendi. So to me, that's that. We'll be happy to go with Otamendi into the season, along with John Stones and also Aymeric Laporte. City might be looking at a centre-back, maybe not. They might, you know what I mean? Like, there's still a few weeks left of the window. Injuries might happen, or things might happen, so we'll have to wait and see. But we've, of course, loaned out Philip Sandler, so we've got Eric Garcia at the Under-19 Championships. So City have tooted about thinking about putting Fernandinho at centre-back, potentially, and utilising him as the fourth option. I have seen some concern in the comments below about not having enough senior players. Are you happy to go with Stones and Otamendi as the options, rotating them to along with Aymeric Laporte? That's for you to discuss, though, in the comments below. So I'll give you the update now with regards to Leroy Sane. It's a really frustrating little saga that's been going on this one. So here's where we're at the moment. Now, sources close to Manchester City have said that there's been no contact from Bayern Munich over Leroy Sane, and the only contact Leroy Sane's got with any football club at this moment in time is Manchester City, who are trying to get him on a new contract, which so far hasn't prevailed. Now, Manchester City apparently had been offered David Alaba, the left back who could play central midfield and defensive midfield too, by Bayern Munich, but I know for a fact that Manchester City aren't interested in bringing in David Alaba from Bayern Munich, and so that was called fake news, and I do believe that was a little bit of fake news going around, and that City haven't been offered David Alaba. Now, other news and sources coming in from Germany were saying that Bayern Munich are now in contact with Leroy Sane's agents and representatives. Sky Germany's backed this up, by the way, so they're reporting that they are indeed in contact with Leroy Sane, which is contradicting the first source that was coming in saying that just City are in contact with Leroy Sane. So everything's very contradicting. Think back to the beginning of the video, I said this annoys me, it frustrates me, because I struggle to find out what's fact and who's lying, and it's really, really frustrating. But the situation that we're in at the moment is that, as far as I'm aware, City want around £100 million. I've heard €100 million. I know that City are looking for around £90 to £100 million though here for Leroy Sane. And the fact is, Bayern Munich won't pay that. That's the situation we're in. Well, because they won't pay that, Manchester City more than likely will not be selling, at least not in this window. Now, his value is only going to decrease if he doesn't sign a new deal in the winter, so it might be made available for transfer in January or next summer, but his value won't be £90 to £100 million. It'll continue to chip down and chip down the longer his contract runs to an end. And so it's incredibly frustrating, and to me, just my opinion this, if Leroy Sane won't commit to Manchester City and sign a new deal, I see that as an incentive that Leroy Sane doesn't want to be here. He might be waiting for more regular playing time, and it's frustrating. I understand where Leroy Sane is coming from. It has been a frustrating 12 months or so. But to me, Leroy Sane, if he wants or sees his long-term future at Manchester City, should sign a new contract. He might see how it goes into the winter, but the problem we've got is his value will go down in a few months' time, and so he won't be worth as much in the winter window as what he's worth now. And so it's like a chess game, and we're at a complete stalemate here. And to me, I'd simply say to Leroy Sane, here's a contract offer. Are you happy with it? If they're not happy with it, give the reasons. And if it's down to playing time and stuff like that, and he's not willing to sign it, then I'd sell. And if he's saying that he could get more money elsewhere and he wants more money from Man City, my conclusion's the exact same. Honestly, I'd sell. I know it sounds blunt, it sounds horrible, but if you're not committed to Manchester City and you want players committed to the cause, and you're not signing a new deal, I would sell. And if we get an offer for around £90 to £100 million, then I'd accept it. I would, however, not sell to a Premier League club, and the way Bayern Munich conducted themselves, I'd be reluctant to sell to them too. And like I said before, PSG and Manchester City, whether they go into negotiations with each other is another matter. So, for you in the comments below, what would you do with Leroy Sane if he doesn't sign a new deal? Keep him here, see how well he does, or try and sell him elsewhere? Would you sell now? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe. Press the red button to subscribe, and press the bell and put your push notifications on. Any help towards number gains on here will be much appreciated. And you can go and check out my social media links, which you can find in the description below and popping up on screen. So make sure you go and follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. I'll see you all again tomorrow for the next daily Manchester City transfer update. Bit slow at the moment. We're expecting quite a few outgoings to come in the next few weeks, and City still a little bit active in the transfer market, looking at players. So I'll bring you any developments on that. Hopefully we'll be able to get a couple more stories through, and I'll be able to bring it to you first and fast. So I'll see you all again tomorrow for the next video. It's been JSGC. Hope you'll have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace. Ciao for now.